Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Warriors star Steph Curry disagrees with Steve Kerr's controversial decision. Golden State Warriors superstar Stephen Curry was a little bit surprised with coach Steve Kerr's decision to rest for an extended time, which the Minnesota Timberwolves took advantage of in seizing a come-from-behind 114-110 win on March 24. Obviously, you're comparing it to the last game and my normal rotation, like I want to play as many minutes as I'm fresh and able to, so a little bit surprised, knowing that Timberwolves were just going on the run, Curry told reporters after dropping their second straight loss. Curry played the whole fourth quarter in their last game, but the Warriors still lost 123-111 to the Indiana Pacers on March 22. This time, Curry just logged 30 minutes as he sat the final 4:07 of the third quarter and the first 5:06 of the fourth quarter. Curry agonizingly watched from the bench as the Timberwolves wiped a Warriors' 4-point lead and built an 8-point edge by the time Kerr reinserted him into the game. So I played the whole fourth quarter against Indiana, it didn't work out. This didn't work out. So we gotta find somewhere in the middle, Curry told reporters. But they need to find that middle ground as quickly as possible as the loss cut their lead for the 10th place in the West to just one game, with the streaking Houston Rockets, 35-35, coming for them. The situation will define itself pretty clearly, and it is kind of real time, Curry added. So every game matters. We're inching closer to the other end of the standings that we never thought we'd be. After an encouraging February where they won 11 of 14 games, they are mired at a 5-7 slump this month, with only a dozen games left in their regular season schedule. Their next two games are against playoff contending teams from the East, Miami Heat, March 26, and Orlando Magic, March 27, on back-to-back sets on the road. Kerr defended his controversial decision and adamantly disagreed that it was the culprit of their latest loss. We can't expect to just ride Steph game after game after game, Kerr told reporters after the loss. These last few weeks have been really tough on him. We've put the burden of this franchise on his shoulders for 15 years. We can't expect him to play 35 minutes. We have 5 games in 7 days on this road trip. If you want to say that him playing 30 minutes instead of 32 is the difference in the win or the loss, I totally disagree with that. We're trying to win the game. We're trying to keep him fresh. Curry disagrees with Kerr, this time with their postseason berth on the line. There is no sense in keeping Curry fresh if they don't make it in the play-in. So nobody's gonna wave the white flag and say you're mailing it in, and if that means playing more minutes, I'll be ready to do that, Curry told reporters. The Warriors superstar still believes they still have one more run in them to save their dynasty from completely collapsing in their most trying season under Kerr. NBA is such a weird league, Curry said. It just takes one little spark to get yourself going. Every team goes through it this season. You see what Houston's doing right now. They got one little spark and they ran off 8 in a row. So we're capable of doing that. Until we run out of games, that's the mindset. Why is Steve Kerr cutting Steph Curry's minutes? Steve Kerr has been slowly cutting down Steph Curry's minutes, and on Sunday it was to the Warriors' detriment. The Timberwolves got their first lead since the opening quarter early in the fourth, while Kerr had Curry sitting on the bench for 9 straight minutes down the stretch. Curry played just 29 minutes and 51 seconds in the Warriors' 114-110 loss to the Timberwolves, and Kerr explained why he kept Curry below 30. We're trying to get him as much rest as we can, Kerr said. We've played him a lot of minutes. We played him 35 minutes 2 days ago. So as long as we were hanging in there, we wanted to limit the minutes a little bit. Not limit them, but not overplay him. Curry himself seemed open to getting more time on the court when asked about it after the game. I want to play as many minutes as I'm fresh and able to, so I'm a little bit surprised, knowing that the Timberwolves were going on a run, Curry said after GSW's third loss in 5 games. our lead was withering away. I played the whole fourth quarter against Indiana and it didn't work out, this didn't work out, against Minnesota. We've got to find somewhere in the middle. In 14 games since the All-Star break, Curry has played more than 32 minutes on just 2 occasions. Kerr was adamant in defending his decision to play Steph for less than 30 minutes, even though the Warriors are dangerously close to dropping out of play-in contention. "We can't expect to just ride Steph game after game after game," Kerr said. "We've put the burden of this franchise on his shoulders for 15 years. We can't expect him to play 35 minutes. If you want to say that him playing 30 minutes instead of 32 is a difference between a win and a loss, I totally disagree with that. We're trying to win the game. And we're trying to keep him fresh, too. Is there a deeper meaning in all this? Or is Kerr just limiting Curry because he knows deep down their season is over?" Warriors projected to trade young star in off-season. The Warriors roster could look drastically different next season, and Moses Moody is being projected as a player who could be traded in the 2024 offseason. Moody, averaging 7.8 points off the bench in his third year, has struggled to find his footing on a Warriors team that hasn't been averse to going young. Unlike last season when the Dubs were unsure of their identity and continued to rely on veterans, the 2023-24 iteration of Golden State has been all about the youth movement. While Jonathan Kuminga and rookie Brandon Podziemski have established themselves as full-time starters, rookie Tracy Jackson-Davis has been receiving significant minutes off the bench, often seeing more court time than veteran Kevin Looney. As such, the idea of Warriors being hesitant to feature Moody due to his inexperience would be rather inaccurate. Bleacher Report's Grant Hughes argues that although Moody brings hustle and energy when called upon, he's become the odd man out who doesn't fit into Golden State's system. "It's becoming clearer that he is a jack of all trades, master of none contributor," Hughes wrote of Moody. So, when the Warriors need lockdown defense off the bench, it's Gary Payton who gets the call. When they need playmakers to keep the ball hopping, they turn to Chris Paul and Podziemski. If Moody had improved as a spot-up shooter, perhaps this would be a different conversation. But he's down to 33.3% from deep, well below the 36.4% he shot as a rookie and the 36.3% he canned last year. The Warriors face a daunting task to qualify for the 2024 NBA playoffs. As of March 25, they sit in the 10th seed, just a game ahead of the Rockets and 3.5 games behind the Lakers. Unless they climb to the 7th or 8th seed, the Warriors would need to win 2 sudden death elimination scenarios to make the playoffs. The oddsmakers don't like their chances of making a deep postseason run. However, what if Steve Kerr's team defies the odds? Last year's Lakers, as a 7th seed, made it to the Western Conference Finals. Out east, the Heat made the NBA Finals as the 8th seed. If Moody becomes a valuable contributor who helps the Warriors make noise in the playoffs, all the talk of trading would dissipate. However, if the Warriors flame out early, it's almost guaranteed that the Mike Dunleavy Jr.-led front office will have many decisions to make this summer. For starters, Klay Thompson, Kevin Looney and Chris Paul could all become free agents. Andrew Wiggins has been mentioned in trade talks for a while. Then the Warriors would have to decide which among their young core they plan to retain. At this point, it almost feels like only Curry, Kuminga and Podziemski are locks to return next season, with even defensive ace Draymond Green's future up in the air. However, the likelihood of the Warriors going into a total rebuild is unlikely. In a recent interview with Baxter Holmes of ESPN, Warriors Governor Joe Lacob made it clear that his franchise plans to remain a title contender for the foreseeable future. "We're never going to bottom out. I won't settle for that. We're not doing that," Lacob stressed. Moody was drafted 14th overall by the Warriors in 2021. Could he be playing for another team next season? The following month or so would determine his fate. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Moses Moody? Leave your opinion in the comments.